Hi, I'm Isaac and you're watching Isaac's Bushcraft and Survival. Today's video is going to be a little bit more unconventional because I'm going to be showing you all the survival uses of tampons. So let's get started. Okay, so the first survival use for tampons I'm going to be showing you is as a fire starter. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take it out of its sheath. What's great about this is it has a lot of extra parts to it. So you can use the cardboard itself as part of the fire starter. If you rip it up a little bit, helps it burn a little bit better. You can use that as part of a survival fire starter. But what's great too is, as you see, there's a wrapper on this here. You can use that as fire starter too. You got the cardboard sheath that holds the tampon. That can be used for fire starter as well. So, and then you got the main cotton part of it. And what we're going to do is we're going to take it, we're going to open it up the best we can, expose those fibers. As you can see, it's just like with our cotton ball fire that we did earlier. We're just going to tear up those fibers a little bit, get them exposed. And I like to cover the fact that no matter what you do, whether it's camping, hiking, hunting, I'd advise bringing at least some of these with you because they just work great in an emergency. If you end up having an injury, you can put it on and patch it up. There's fire, you can use them for fire starter, water filtration. I'll be showing you those two later on. Except I can't really show you the wound care because I don't have a wound, but if you do end up getting a gash or something, you just press it on and hold it. It'll help stop the bleeding. And this works well for anything from medium injuries to anything that's like, let's say you just get a paper cut, to anything that's a little bit more substantial you can use it for. But if you get like a deep puncture wound, I'd advise not using it for that. I mean, it can absorb the blood, but it won't stop the bleeding very well. Your best bet is to use like a tourniquet and these combined, and then it would work pretty well. But yeah, you can use it for wound care. If you have duct tape, you can just strap it on and tape it onto your hand or arm or wherever you're cut, and that works great too. So yeah, like I said, I don't have a wound to show you how it works. And yeah, so I'm going to be showing you right now though how effective it is for a fire starter. So I'm just going to keep ripping up the fiber a little bit. And then I'm just going to put my cardboard on top of it first. That way it helps just get it going a little bit faster, a little bit better. And then I'm just going to put my sticks on top of it as well. Because it's going to, when it goes, it's going to go. These burn fast. If you wanted them to burn a little bit slower, you could technically add Vaseline to it, which I showed you that in a previous video, adding that to a cotton ball. It helps it burn way longer and hotter. But if you don't have Vaseline, it still burns pretty well. So we're going to get this going. And that's how you get a fire going with tampons. And like I said, you can use these as a fire starter. They work great. As you can see, I got my fire going with just the tampon, but they do work much better if you add Vaseline to them. But the next part that I'm going to be showing you is I'm going to be using them actually as a water filter. So I'm going to be getting ready to get my water together and everything so I can show you how to filter it. And I'll be back with you. Okay, so another great survival use for tampons, or at least the case of the tampons, the outer cardboard holder. As you can tell, this one's a little bit dirtier and not nearly as bright because I accidentally stepped on it. Oops. But as you can tell, it is just the case of it. But what these work great for is if you're in areas like I am, if you're in areas where there are woods, like right here, it's super wooded, foresty. If you're in a spot like that and you don't want to get lost, a great way is if you find, like, let's say up here, I don't know if you can see it very well, but up here is a branch of a tree. What you can do is you can take it and just slide it over the branch. And obviously it's a little bit harder to see right now because I accidentally stepped on it and it got dirtier, but normally it's like bright white and red. So you'd be able to mark the location of where you're at so you don't get lost as easy. It works amazing for that because, like I said, you can see it from a long distance because it's white and red. Like I said, this one got dirtier, my mistake. But no, it works great for that, just marking your territory, knowing where you're at, so you don't end up getting lost, especially in larger forested regions. So that's just a quick survival tip for you. Okay, so our last survival use for our tampons, I'm going to show you right now. But first we're going to need like a pop bottle or something like that, and we're just going to take the end and we're going to cut it off the best we can anyway. Okay, so we got our bottle end cut off here. It's a little bit dirty. And we're going to take our tampon, we're going to open it up, and we're going to see if we can unwrap it a little bit, open it up a bit, see if we can expose a little bit of those cotton layers. We don't want to rip it too much, but we're going to open it up a little bit here. Get it so that I can expose some of those fibers, because that's what's going to filter our water at the end here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take it, we're just going to shove it down into the bottom of our water container here. Normally I'd have a longer stick. Here it is. But we're going to shove it down into the bottom of our container here. And it helps if you take some of the fibers here, if you can, and grab some and pull them through a little bit, because that way it helps seal them off a little bit. There we go. Yeah, that way it helps seal it off and it helps it to drain a little bit better. And then we're just going to take our cup here, and this is some of the water that we're filtering right here. As you can see, it's muddy. We're going to pour some of it in. Actually, wait, I see a problem we got here. What happened is I did not pull it down tight enough, so it's not actually filtering through the cotton. It's filtering, there we go. It wasn't filtering through the cotton. Basically, the cotton was floating on top of the water, but now I have it pushed through the opening there, so it can't float. Now we can actually filter our water. As you can see, we got muddy water here. As it runs through, it'll clear up a little bit. Takes a little time, but it's actually coming out remarkably clear. Like, I'll show you that after I get done with filtering it with this. It's taken a lot of the mud out. So if you have really muddy water, I advise to use this method to filter it. Because as you can see, it's actually filtering it rather well. It doesn't get out bacteria, so you still should boil it. But if you aren't able to boil it, you can drink it. There's always that risk of getting sick from bacteria if you don't boil your water. That's what I always say. If you don't boil it, there's still that risk of getting sick. It depends if you think that risk is worth it or not. But you should, whenever possible, always boil it. Looks like our water is almost done filtering here. And then I'm going to show you the results. It's probably slightly murky, but not too bad. It got rid of most of the black dirt, as you can see. And I'm going to pour this into a different cup. As you can tell, it cleared up our water immensely. I don't know if you can tell, it's still obviously slightly, very slightly hazy. But that's to be expected because it can't get every little bit out. But it did a phenomenal job of it. Oh, actually, that's condensation. Actually, no, it actually got the water relatively clear. Sorry, my hands are a little bit dirty. I'm trying to rub it off. There we go. But no, it actually cleared up the water really, really well. So yeah, during a survival situation, I would definitely use this as a water filter because it can filter out dirt, bugs, particles, all sorts of stuff that is in your water that's floating. Like I said, you should still boil it, but this is a great option if you don't have, the option to boil it. But no, that's a great use for tampons. These are all survival uses that you can use for tampons. And that is all the survival tips and tricks I have for you about tampons. Like I said, they are very useful for a lot of different situations, a lot of different survival purposes. Like I said, between water filtration, fire starting, wound care, there's so many multiple purposes. There's also obviously the traditional use for them, especially for women who are out doing bushcraft and survival. It's something that women should take along. But no, they work great in general for a lot of different survival purposes. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this type of content, please consider subscribing and liking. And I will see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.